గుజరాత్ ఎన్నికలకు సంబంధించి ఈసీ మాట్లాడుతుంది, షెడ్యూల్ రిలీజ్ చేస్తున్నారు. లైవ్ చూద్దాం.
Another feature which has been added is to provide voter assistance booth. The voter assistance booth will be set up for every polling station location, where a team of BLO and his other person they will provide the facilitation to the voters to locate his or polling station number and the serial number in the electoral roll. One representation was made in the last elections to the other states that we should increase the height of voting compartment to ensure secrecy of voting, because this time besides the VU and CU, which is popularly known as EVM, we would also be having the VVPATs, that is the voter verifiable paper audit trail machine will also be there. So the height of the voting compartment, which was 24 inches earlier, has now been increased to 30%. And it will consist of corrugated plastic sheet of flexboard of steel grey color, which is completely opaque, and it is also reusable, and it will be used for making the voting compartments. Coming to the all women managed polling station, this is also a new innovation which has been done by Gujarat, and commission had suggested that at least now we should make a beginning that there should be polling station where we have 100% polling personnel of women, including the security. So in Gujarat elections, we will have 102 all women managed polling station. That is one per constituency, where it will be manned entirely by the women polling officials. Next important issue is regarding electronic voting machines and the voter verifiable paper audit trail. As we had decided in the June 2017 meeting, and also the meeting which we held with you in May 2017 in the Vigyan Bhavan, the polling in the state would be conducted at all the 50,128 polling stations using EVMs and also the VVPATs. Commission has already made arrangements to ensure that required number of EVMs and VVPATs are available in the state of Gujarat at all the polling stations. The first level check of EVMs and VVPAT is being done in the presence of the representatives of the political party. A two-stage randomization of EVMs and VVPATs will also be done. I would just like to share the experience, because in this February-March 2017 election, Goa is the state where we had deployed 100% VVPATs in the Goa assembly election. The number of constituencies was 40 and total number of polling station was 1,642. So we have now a good experience of deployment of VVPATs in all the polling stations. So, and not only that, all the by-elections which have been held to the parliamentary seats also and to the assembly seats also after June 2017, we have used VVPATs in all these by-polls also. One more decision which we have taken is that the slips which are generated in the VVPAT machine after the polling is completed and on the counting day, the slips of at least one polling station which will be selected randomly would also be counted. This is on a pilot basis we are starting, but I think it is a good beginning, because people should also have that faith. The VVPAT has got the, what is VVPAT? A common man can see, मैं अपनी वोट देख सकूंगा. That is the basic purpose of this new machine which has been developed ingeniously and in our own in-house development. So this is very important that every voter shall be able to see after he presses the button of VU. There will be a flash of light where a slip of 10 centimeter into 5.6 centimeter will be there. He can see that there will be three things which will be displayed: the serial number of the candidate on the ballot paper, which is there on the VU, his name, and also the symbol of the candidate would also be visible in this flash of light, which shall be for 7 seconds. The next point is regarding filing of affidavits. All the candidates who contest the elections have to file affidavits, and we have issued instructions that in the affidavit which are to be filed by all the candidates, it should be filled for all columns. If any column in the affidavit is left blank, the returning officer will issue a notice to the candidate to file the revised affidavit with all columns duly filled in. After such notice, if a candidate still fails to file affidavit, complete in all respects, the nomination paper will be liable to be rejected by the returning officer at the time of scrutiny of the nominations. Another important aspect related to poll is the implementation of Model Code of Conduct. The Model Code of Conduct comes into effect immediately from now onwards. All provisions of the Model Code will apply to the whole state of Gujarat, and it will be applicable to all candidates, political parties, and the government of Gujarat. The Model Code of Conduct will also be applicable to the union government in so far as announcement or policy decisions relating to Gujarat state is concerned. The Commission has made elaborate arrangements for ensuring effective implementation of the MCC guidelines. Any violations of these guidelines would be dealt with by the Commission, and it will be applicable to all the stakeholders, that is the political parties, contesting candidates, their agents. The government of the poll-bound state has also been directed to ensure that no misuse of official machinery is done during the MCC period. Commission has also issued instructions for swift, effective and stringent action for enforcement of the Model Code during the first 72 hours of the announcement of the election schedule, and also maintaining extra vigilance and strict enforcement during the last 72 hours prior to the day of polling. These instructions have already been issued in the form of SOPs to all the concerned election official machinery at the district level and at the state level. There would also be videography and webcasting and CCTV coverage in which all critical events of the political and electioneering would be videographed. DOs will arrange sufficient number of video and digital cameras, and for this purpose the events for videography will include filing of nomination papers, scrutiny, allotment of symbol, first level checking, that is FLC, preparation and storage of EVMs, important public meetings, processions during election campaign, process of dispatching of postal ballot papers. Additionally, CCTVs will be installed at important border checkposts and static checkpoints for the effective monitoring and surveillance. Commission has directed that webcasting, CCTV coverage, videography and digital cameras will also be deployed inside critical polling booths and polling stations in vulnerable area to closely monitor the proceedings on the polling day without violating the secrecy of the voting. Next aspect is law and order and the security arrangement and deployment of the forces. Conduct of elections involve elaborate security management, which includes not just the security of polling personnel, polling station, but also the overall security of the election process. CAPF would be deployed to supplement the local police force in ensuring a peaceful and conducive atmosphere for smooth conduct of elections in a free, fair and credible manner. The CAPF will be deployed well in advance for area domination, because people should also have an idea that the CAPF has been deployed. They will be having route marches in the vulnerable pockets, point patrolling and other confidence building measures to reassure and build faith in the minds of the voters, especially those belonging to the weaker sections, minorities, etc. The CAPF will also be deployed in expenditure sensitive constituencies and other vulnerable areas and critical polling stations as per the assessment of ground realities by the CEO of the state in consultation with the stakeholders. Entire force police deployment in assembly segments would be done under the oversight of the police observers, which will be posted by the Commission. Commission lays a special emphasis on the advance preventive measures to be taken by the DMs and the police authorities to maintain law and order and to create atmosphere conducive for conduct of free and fair elections. The Commission will also be monitoring the ground situation and will take appropriate action to ensure peaceful, free and fair elections throughout the state. Next aspect is of election expenditure monitoring. Comprehensive instructions for the purpose of effective monitoring of the election expenditure of the candidates have been issued, which includes setting up of flying squad, static surveillance teams and video surveillance teams, in involvement of investigation directorates of the income tax department, State Excise Department, and the police authority have been asked to monitor production, distribution, sale, storage of liquor and intoxicants. In the case of Gujarat, no liquor is manufactured, but liquor can come from the neighboring states. So that is the point which the concerned excise department of the state would have to monitor closely. The functioning and operation of the flying squad will be closely monitored using the GPS tracking system, because all the vehicles of flying squads and SSTs will have GPS. For greater transparency and for ease of monitoring of election expenses, the candidates would be required to open a separate bank account and incur their election expenses from this particular